Good morning, everyone. I will begin by reading the Indigenous Land Use Statement. We acknowledge the land which we occupy today as the traditional home of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been the caretakers of this land since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient tribes and bands, both federally recognized and unrecognized. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before, as well as the present-day Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok people. I hereby call this meeting to order at 10:31 a.m. Pacific time. Brett, are you taking minutes today?
Sorry, I was uploading a picture there for my message later. President Burrows?
Present.
Present. Vice President Espinosa?
Excused.
Excused. Legislative Analyst Perlade Birch?
Present.
Present. Director of Finance Huynh?
Present.
Present. Senator Ng?
Present.
Present. Senator Gorman?
Present.
Present. K-Rep Mark Shepard?
Present.
Present. Director of Public Relations Love?
Present.
Present. And Director of Legislative Affairs Garcia? Absent. Did I get everyone? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 7 of 9 here. Quorum has been met.
Thank you, Brett. With that, we will move on to adoption of today's agenda. The agenda went out in an email, I believe, this morning from Advisor Sawyer. If there are no objections, we will adopt today's agenda. Seeing and hearing none, the agenda is adopted. We will now move on to approval of the minutes. Minutes went out in that same email this morning from Advisor Sawyer. If there are no objections or motions for change, the minutes will be approved. Seeing and hearing none, the minutes are approved. We will now move on to Chair's message. So again, good morning, everyone. It is now, I believe, the end of week 6. I wanted to start by acknowledging what's happening in Ukraine this week and how it impacts many people in our community. The invasion is on people's lips at every meeting I attend. Please keep an eye out for a message from ARC's administration about a solidarity event to be held early next week. I wanted to give everyone a quick heads up that I have a few Friday field trips this semester and will be out for most of the month of March. Next week's meeting on March 4th will be chaired by Legislative Analyst Angie Birch. The meeting on March 11th will be chaired by Director of Legislative Affairs Sylvia Garcia. And the meeting on March 25th will be chaired by Vice President Dominique Espinoza. After today, I will see you next on March 18th. I did want to note that I will be preparing the agendas for meetings chaired by other members of our executive board. So please continue to reach out to me directly if you have any upcoming agenda items. Housekeeping aside, food is returning to campus now that we're back in person for those classes that were originally scheduled to be held in person. The Oak Cafe Bakery is now open on Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The cafeteria is open in the Student Center Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5. And there is a food truck that will be parking at the STEM Center Monday through Thursday from 10 to 4. March is Women's History Month and Internship Information Month. Los Rios colleges will be hosting a variety of intern-related events throughout the month, so be sure to check those out. The American River College Theater is presenting a production of Lost Girl, which opens today and will hold 6 live shows through March 6th. The FAFSA and California DREAM Act priority deadline is next week on March 2nd. The deadline to petition for graduation from a Los Rios school is next Friday, March 4th. Other than that, I believe the Model United Nations or MUN Club has an annual event coming up, which in the past ASB Senate has provided funding for. I understand the event is coming up soon, although Advisor Sawyer probably has more current information on that than I do. So that's all I have for Chair's message. I will now turn it over to Advisor Sawyer for Advisor's message.
All right, y'all. Hi. Aloha. Happy Friday. It has been a week. I've seen a couple of you on ground. I actually got to meet Sydney in person for my first time. I saw Angie at the tables earlier this week. So for those of you that are on ground, it's been nice to see students, right? And I know we're not all the way back. It's still kind of quiet, but it's good to be back and have students and be away from this Zoom machine, at least for a little bit. So yeah, I want to echo President Burrow's sentiments about what's going on in the world right now. Yesterday, I talked to 2 coworkers who's from Ukraine, who have family in Russia as well. So there's that dynamic. It's just another historic event that we're living through. That's what, 4 or 5 in the last 2 years. So your resiliency through all this, I always say this, it's going to shape you down the road much more than other generations have had to deal with, so including mine. So just a couple announcements. I put some pictures in there in the chat. That is the cantina in the cafeteria. For those of you that were on ground before this pandemic started, Aramark is no longer here, so it's kind of a glorified like vending machine, but it's a pay as you go. It's kind of on the honor system. However, there is a staff person there to just kind of make sure, you know, that someone's not walking out with 50 things. But I tried it out the other day. The bagels are all right. No toaster though. So I think there was a microwave, but I'm not trying to microwave bagels. So if you have like, there are frozen food items and there's fresh like sandwiches and stuff and salads. So it's open, as Stacy said, 8 to 5. It's kind of confusing because the student center is closed, but the cafeteria is open. So just be mindful of that, or tell students that you might interact with that student center closed, cafeteria, those doors are unlocked from 8 to 5, and students can access that food. And like Stacy said, the food truck out in front of STEM, and then the Oak Cafe on Thursdays. And I believe the restaurant is doing reservations on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So couple more food options. For those of you that are here on fall, there was nothing other than the bookstore. So we're getting there. Other than that, so elections, that paperwork, I met with some of the advisors the other day. It's actually March 7th when it starts and not this Monday, the 28th, which was a huge relief to all of the advisors. Gives us a little more time to prep all that paperwork and make those announcements. The student trustee handbook says it's the first Monday in March, and that wouldn't be February 28th, which is this Monday. So we got a little more time. So for those of you that are interested in running for next year, that information will be out on March 7th. It's a 3-week window. So March 28th would be the deadline to apply for running for office for either Senate or CAPE. Brianna, I saw your question. They can sit in there, students can sit in there. They're trying to avoid big groups, but as far as I know, you can sit in there and get on your laptop or book or, you know, whatever, and hang out. So unless that policy changes, I will let you all know. But if I see you in there or someone in there, as long as they're eating and studying, I'm not going to say anything. But I'll follow up on that. And then the last thing, and this is kind of depressing, and I hate ending on a depressing note, is lobby day. They set a date. It's next Thursday, so 6 days from now. I found out while on vacation last week, but we didn't know the times, and I didn't want to send an email out and then send another email out saying it's changed, it's moved. So it was finalized, I believe, yesterday. It's from 8:30 to 12 on Thursday. March 3rd. So that 8:30 to 12 is when the district aligns speakers from the Capitol to come and talk to you all. So you're not actually lobbying during those times. The trick is to make a lobbying appointment takes time, right? Staffs are busy. You all are obviously busy. To get an appointment by Thursday, I would say is almost impossible. So for those of you that are interested in still participating in that, I think Stacy and I were going to hang around afterwards for folks that want to kind of scheme, game plan what that day might look like. I know it's short notice. I know you have school, you're returning to campus, some of you. It's a big ask. So I totally understand that. I can talk kind of like logistics about making appointments. Might not be next Thursday. They might be 2 weeks from now, and that's fine. But I would still like to try to have students from ARC at least have one lobby appointment. It just doesn't have to be next Thursday. So more to come on that. There's a training on March 2nd, which is Wednesday at 9. And I'll put all this in the chat so you can copy and paste it. That is with the lobbyist that the district hires. He's really good. He knows his stuff. So if you've never lobbied before, I'd encourage you all to attend. I'll find the Zoom link for that. But I know it's really short notice. It's the world we're living in right now. So I apologize, but I will get that out to folks. And for those of you that can or want to lobby, hang tight after the meeting today. We'll have a little group sesh. And I probably went over 5 minutes, so I'll stop. So thank you. It's nice seeing you all. And President Burrows, back to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Brett. It's okay if you go a little over. It's all great information the board needs, and we appreciate everything you do. All right, we will now move on to public comment. Read the statement. This time is reserved for members of the public to address ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on the future agenda. Are there any members of the public who wish to make a comment at this time? And it looks like we don't have any members of the public present. So I'm going to share a statement. I was contacted by a student, Trevor Middleton, whose pronouns are he, they. Trevor shared this public comment yesterday at Academic Senate, which I was present for, and wanted to share this comment also today. However, Trevor is at work and asked me to read a written statement on their behalf. So Trevor's statement reads as follows. I just wanted to let everyone know about this potential Supreme Court case. It's Payan versus the Los Angeles Community College District. What happened is a multitude of blind students were unable to access course materials through Los Angeles Community College District, so they asked for accommodations. None were given. The students responded by suing, to which the district responded by escalating the suit to the Supreme Court level, saying they didn't discriminate against anyone because it was not intentional. They are trying to define the term disparate action to be intentional discrimination. This has large ramifications for every single person in the room, every single person in our country. As far as disability, this would affect ASL interpreters, accessibility ramps, all of our accommodations for our classrooms, everything. As far as everyone else goes, the term disparate action could also bleed into and set precedent for Title IX protections, which affects everyone. Disability affects everyone because everyone in the room is a car accident, a sickness, a diagnosis away from needing permanent accommodation. You, your loved ones, your spouse, parents, children, everyone is and will be affected. Currently, the Los Angeles Community College District has not finalized their bid to the Supreme Court. I will give you information where you can find out more. Please sign the petition and spread the word to everyone that you know. And on March 3rd, please show up with the Los Angeles Community College District Board meeting and send the resounding signal to back off student civil rights. And there is a link attached to the message, which I will put in the chat for you to check out. So that concludes the public comment from student Trevor Middleton. Thank you, Trevor. All right, seeing and hearing no other members of the public, we will now move on to appointments and swearing in, of which there are none. So we will move on to unfinished business, of which there is also none. So we can move on to new business. Is there a motion for item 10.1?
I move to discuss item 10.1.
Second.
With the motion made and seconded, President Shepherd, you have the floor.
Awesome. Thank you guys for allowing me to come and discuss this with you. Basically, this is just going to be a roundtable discussion. CABE is asking for assistance on creating a on-campus, on-ground event, mainly focused around PPE. Just let me rephrase what PPE is: personal protection equipment. And for example, masks, hand sanitizers, and such like that. Operations does have a huge quantity of PPE stuff. They just need help passing it out. And I would love to have Student Senate and CABE collab together and create an event on grounds to, one, there's a multitude of things we can accomplish by doing this. And one is letting fellow students know what Student Senate's here for, what we're here to do, and we're here to help. Also, it'll also give us an opportunity to kind of recruit for next semester to fulfill all the executive roles of Student Senate and CABE. So I wanted to kind of get the Student Senate and feedback on any ideas or suggestions on how we could accomplish this. So we'd love to get some feedback from you guys, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mark. Would anyone like to contribute to the discussion? Have ideas, questions?
Chair.
Brad, I heard you first. Go ahead.
It's actually a question for Mark. You have a date in mind, Mark?
Preferably Marchish. I know that we're going to be doing a club day in sometime in March on grounds. So we can kind of possibly tie it around that date. I don't have a set date. So that'd be another kind of open to discussion if some members had some ideas on dates, like, you know, the most popular time in March, even possibly April, to give us more time to kind of promote it and get some ideas together and some more discussions.
Mark, maybe you said this and I missed it, but did you mention when the club day is going to be? Like even just a day of the week?
March,
Yeah.
Brett, I don't think we set a date, did we, Brett, in March?
CABE didn't set an official date. There was a date thrown around, but I don't think you all settled on it. And that was, let me check my notes.
24th, if I'm not.
Yeah, Thursday, the 24th. The
So
hard
we could
part,
tie it around that date. But just, I know we're going to need manpower. So if any senators or executives of the board would like to volunteer to be there on that day, that would be, as I always say, astronomical, because it's the one thing we need is manpower. So if there's any senators and or executives on the board that would possibly be able to assist on that day, let me know.
Chair.
Brianna, I think I heard you first. Go ahead.
I'm likely available to help out. I'm an officer for 2 clubs, and so I think I'll be there anyways, if there are club events related, but I would love to help out.
Thank you, Brianna. It's awesome. Sydney, go ahead.
I also think I'll be able to help. I just need a little bit more information before I can confirm.
Chair.
Recognized.
One thing I did know when I was on campus this week is just that there is a lot of there are a lot of things close early on different days. And I think Wednesday is probably like it might be a better day for something like that, just because everything is open much later. Because I think on certain days, like later in the week, they close at like 12, or I don't know, things close really early. And then Wednesdays, a lot of the other things are open until like 5 or 6.
That's a good consideration. Thank you, Angie.
Chair.
Recognized.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, thank you for letting me know about that date for Wednesdays. We might possibly try to reconsider moving the date to a Wednesday, just to have the potential to reach the most students. Basically, the realm of this is just to let them know that we're here, we care about their safety. You know, and if students can't purchase PPE equipment, that the school is there to help provide it. So.
Any other questions, comments, ideas?
So, Chair, sorry.
Recognized.
Pardon my ignorance, but as far as I know off my memory, Mark might be the only one here that has seen an on-campus event at ARC and been in the planning of that. That's what I should say. So it will never be kind of like what it was in 2019 or early 2020. The student flow, Angie could attest to it. It wasn't like high traffic this week, but a little more than it was last week and obviously in January. So in the past, Senate at events like a club day has had a table where students can come up and talk to you all, ask about Senate. You all could share with them what you've been working on or your experiences in Senate. So if anything, just like a meet and greet, a Q&A table. You all do have a tablecloth in your office that you can put on a table, and we can arrange flyers and whatnot. But even just having that along with the clubs and maybe some other programs and services, it doesn't have to be huge. We're not throwing a giant party like with and expecting 5,000 students to come through, but just something to think about of what that day could look like, at least on Senate side. Food always helps, but honestly, I don't know what our food ordering policy is now that Aramark's gone. So more to come on that. But anyway, just some context on what a day like that looks like on ground.
Thank you, Brett. That is helpful. I remember seeing those club days, but yeah, I never took part of that planning. Any other questions, comments, discussion? All right, Mark, was there anything else you wanted to say about this item before we moved on?
No, I need to discuss it. If anything ever, send me an email and we'll get back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. All right, with that, we will now move on to committee reports. I don't believe any committees met this week. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So we will move on to board member reports and announcements. Are there any members of the board who wish to make a report or share an announcement?
Chair.
Recognized.
This Friday or today, I will be presenting a research paper for Real STEM Coalition. We'll also, if time allows, we will also be discussing the possibility of meeting in person as well. And whether or not, because officially, I think right now we're not actually considered a club because we don't have a official charter or anything like that. So that might be something in the discussion as well. So yeah, that is something that's going to be taking place at 1 on Zoom. Just give me a second here. I'll get the Zoom link in the chat. That's all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nathan. Excited to see what happens with your project.
Sure.
Recognized.
So you already said some of the things that I was going to say for Operations Council during your opening message. But Operations Council met this week. There were a couple things that they noted that I just wanted to make note of here. So still this semester, there's no staff or student decals, but they are still requesting that if you're a student, park in student. If you're staff, then you can park in staff. And there are masks and hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes still available in classrooms. Masks are still required inside the buildings, and you can find them at various places around campus, but particularly in the tents and the operations tent. They will have them available for people who don't forget their masks, who forget their masks at home. And that's it.
Thank you, Angie. Any other board member reports or announcements? All right, seeing and hearing none, we will now move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. I do not see any. Oh, Brett, did you want to say something?
Just one thing, because I forgot to mention it earlier. Shout out to Sydney for chairing the meeting last week. It's not easy, as some of you that are signing up for future meetings will find out. So shout out to Sydney for holding it down. And for those of you that are training or that are going to chair in the future, if you ever want, a little training, a little advice, a little guidance, I'm more than happy to. I'm sure Stacy is as well. So yeah, shout out Sydney. Great job.
Thank you, Brett. And I feel really bad I didn't mention that during Chair's message. Thank you so much, Sydney. Holding down the fort. All right. If there are no other public comments, this meeting will be adjourned at 10:59 a.m. if there are no objections. Seeing and hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.